very sad day for America, and it was also very sad driving through Washington, D.C. and seeing the filth and the decay and all of the broken buildings and walls and the graffiti. This is not the place that I left. It's a very sad thing to see it.
Okay, guys, so that's what Donald Trump said the day after the day of the arraignment, after he drove back to Reagan National and described his trip. And a lot of you have been emailing me and sending me messages. Is that true? Is that what he really saw? Well, my channel's not about telling you what he did or didn't see. My channel's about showing you. All right, so let me show you, not tell you, what Donald Trump saw and what he didn't see, because it happened a little bit later. Okay, guys, so we're going to exit the airport and we're going to follow the exact same route that the motorcade followed to Washington, D.C., so you guys can see for yourselves what they saw. I should note Donald Trump sat on the right-hand side of the car as the passenger side, and as we turn to the left, the camera sort of automatically adjusts a bit, so we'll get this sorted as we straighten out a bit. So we are exiting the airport and we're going to get onto the GW Parkway, the George Washington Parkway, which will take us over to the 14th Street Bridge and then into Washington, D.C. We'll grab the tunnel and take it right to the district court. You guys can see everything. All right, it is a Sunday, I should note. Traffic is a bit lighter right now. Of course, he was in a motorcade with police escorts, so he didn't really have to worry about traffic. Ka-thump. So on my right is Reagan National Airport. That's where you go when you're flying into Washington. On my left is actually the Patent and Trademark Office's headquarters. You guys can't see it, but it's a really big building, and a lot of other government contractors have opened up offices there in what's known as Crystal City, Pentagon City, basically servicing the government. Oh, way up there is a plane coming in over Gravelly Point. We'll be up there in just a second. So that's the bike path on the right that you saw me riding my bike while I was chasing Trump's airplane. That was kind of a crazy bike ride the other day. All right, we got our first signs for Gravelly Point, and all the traffic coming out of the airport's coming on our right-hand side. Gravelly Point is by far one of the best places to go in DC. Oh, there's a plane right there on the right. As you get to be right under the north runway for the plane's landing, and I mean, you don't have to be an airplane geek like me to enjoy it. I mean, or a kid or anyone. Actually, it's probably one of the more popular thing Washingtonians will do and not tell the tourist about. So you'll see Washingtonians over here having picnics, just watching the planes land. In fact, there's some food trucks over there today. Nice setup. All right, we're still technically in Virginia. You'll see the river off on my right, and off in the distance, the Capitol. You should see the Washington Monument in a bit. Well, it might be behind this tree. I'm gonna pull the camera up a little bit for you guys. All right, raise the camera a little bit for you. A little more. There we go. All right, now we get to enjoy DC traffic. Except, actually, if I remember, I think I have a lane. I have my own lane coming out of this on-ramp. So this is the 14th Street Bridge, which is actually sort of a nickname for all the bridges along here. I think there's 3 or 4. The Air Florida plane crashed into the 14th Street Bridge, but it hit the southbound lanes, which are off to my left about 100 yards. It didn't hit this part of the bridge. This used to be a drawbridge, if I recall. I think this is the drawbridge keeper's place. They paved over the drawbridge portion of this a long time ago. And we're in a lane we don't want to be in, but we got a little bit of time to sort it out. On my right is the Metro Bridge, the yellow line, and also a bridge called Long Bridge, which is for the trains and the Amtrak's. On your left, you should just see the Jefferson Memorial. I don't think you can get the Washington Monument in frame, but it's there too. All right, let's keep going this way. We're gonna have to move over a lane in a bit. We're gonna do the total DC thing, which is drive to the last possible second and then change lanes and cause everybody else to slow down and just make congestion, yeah? We can go a little farther and do that. Yeah, See, that's why everybody else is doing it. Okay, when are we going to pull over? Are we going to pull over? Yeah, we'll pull over in front of the budget truck. Just before the white line. Okay. Welcome to Washington. All right, on my right is the Wharf, a newly renovated, actually very nice area with boats and restaurants. On your left is the post office. That's that brown building, and the Spy Museum, and LaFont Plaza, a bunch of other offices. And this is the exit for Main Avenue. That's the Wharf. And that's at the fish boats, too, where you can go and buy fish boats. It's pretty cool. That's the Housing and Urban Development over there on the left. And the Comptroller of Currency building and an old church. And now we're on what's known colloquially as the freeway. I think it's now called 695. It used to be called the Southeast Southwest Freeway. But Trump's motorcade came down this freeway, and then they entered the tunnel, as we know. And the tunnel takes us under the reflecting pool, the 395 tunnel, I guess. So let's take this, follow the signs for the 3rd Street tunnel. This is a new apartment building. Lovely view of the freeway from the windows, the balconies. And kaboom, we're in the tunnel. We're going to stay in this all the way under the reflecting pool and under the National Mall. Now, originally, this tunnel was going to be I-95 North. It was going to come out on the other side and continue right through the heart of the District of Columbia and connect into 95 North, heading to Baltimore. But local opposition, some of the first NIMBYs ever, basically. Oh, look at this guy. This guy can't read the height requirements of the tunnel, so he's backing up. Anyway, local opposition stopped 95 from going through and cutting up the communities and neighborhoods. So as a result, 95, this road basically just ends up ahead. It ends at New York Avenue. It's quite a traffic mess. All right, so he came out what is known as D Street, which is not this lane. It's the lane over one. Actually, you know what? It is this lane, I think. Yeah. So this is the exit to the U.S. Senate, too. So, but we're not going to take the actual Senate. We're going to follow what his motorcade took, yeah? So if you go to the right here, you end up at the U.S. Senate. But he came up to D Street, D as in dog, and he turned left. Now, right over there is the Mitch Snyder Center for Creative Nonviolence, the city's probably the largest homeless shelter in downtown D.C. It's got a lot of issues, too. U.S. Tax Court on my right, Department of Labor on my left, D.C. Police Headquarters straight ahead and to the left, and we will turn here on 3rd Street in just a moment after the light changes. Now we're going to be stuck here for a second. Okay, finally turned green. It's a long light for a Sunday. All right, so Trump's motorcade turned left right here and went under this little bridge walkway of the Department of Labor. Down to the right is where the police cars go when they're taking people to the central booking of the DC police. And right there, that building right there is the Prettyman Courthouse. And Trump's motorcade turned right here. And then after it turned here on C Street, it made a turn into this tunnel, which of course I cannot make this turn in the tunnel. All right, guys, that is what Donald Trump saw on his drive into Washington, D.C. Okay, guys, so we just drove the exact same route that Donald Trump's motorcade saw. You saw what he saw. Now, I should point out, he made a lot of comments about graffiti, rundown buildings, etc., and those do exist in Washington, D.C. I don't normally show them to you because I don't live in those neighborhoods. But last night, we had some real chaos down in those neighborhoods. Let me take you down there and show you what happened down there. Okay, so we're going to go back through this tunnel that we just came out of. But this time, instead of going over to the airport, I'm going to swing over to a neighborhood known as Anacostia, named after the Anacostia River, or vice versa, I'm not really sure. Last night, things got a bit crazy in Anacostia, and I'll show you what happened down there. All right, we're going to go over the 11th Street Bridge, going over the Anacostia River, which some of you might be surprised to know you can now swim in the Anacostia River. The Anacostia River was always just a cesspool, to be honest. They would clean it. Whenever you had like a cleanup of the river, sometimes they would find bodies even. It was just a mess of a river. But the local people really fought hard for the last 20, 30 years. And they've been cleaning it, and they've been forcing local governments to redo their sewer outtakes and all sorts of other stuff. And now you can actually swim in the Anacostia River. All right, let's go into Good Hope Road and Martin Luther King Avenue, sort of the heart of this part of Anacostia. This area has been trying to get renewed. They've done a lot of work. They've put a lot of money into it. It's slowly, some of it's coming around. They're building more condos. They're building new shops and restaurants and stuff like that. But it still, sadly, has some problems. There you can see the old sign, Anacostia sign up on that building. We are in the 1200 block of Good Hope Road at the intersection of Martin Luther King Avenue. And the farther we go away from this little core downtown, the rougher the neighborhood gets a little bit. All right, 1300 block. Starting to see some vacant buildings, some boarded up shops, fences around this place. Now in the 1400 block, more light industrial, and this is why we have to stop. The 1600 block of Good Hope Road. Last night, 2 people were shot and murdered right here at this intersection of 1600 Good Hope Road, down where the police car is. That then spilled over into another shooting in 19th Street, which is just down the road here, where 5 more people were shot, including 1 person killed. A total of 3 people were killed and 4 people were shot in this mass shooting last night in Anacostia, DC. And that's on top of 2 or 3 other murders that took place in the last 24 hours. Those up in other parts of the city. It was absolutely crazy in Washington, DC yesterday. Just absolutely crazy. So, yeah, while Donald Trump might not have seen rundown buildings and stuff or other, he did. There is that going on in DC. There is a bit of craziness going on in DC. He just didn't see it while he was here because it took place yesterday. Got it all cordoned off up ahead. I don't know if I can go up to that spot or if I have to turn around. That's one way. So yeah, it can get a bit crazy in DC. Whole road is still closed due to the shooting last night. Absolute insanity down here. So these white circles that you see, guys, these were the bullet casings, shell casings. I walked out into the road. I counted 32 shell casings on the scene of the crime yesterday. Now, one of the guys who was shot, he actually passed away down there at that wooden scaffolding. He made it that far. Basically, though, the whole couple blocks around here were the crime scene. So there you can see the beer, cigarettes, and the wound kit just left over on the ground. Okay, guys, so that's a little bit of Washington, D.C. That's what Donald Trump saw, and that's an area of D.C. that he did not see, but he probably described a little bit. Washington has both kinds of neighborhoods. It has these beautiful neighborhoods with big houses and monuments and museums, and it's got neighborhoods that are really suffering. And they've been suffering for years, decades even. Anacostia has had problems for the last 10 administrations, I'd say, at least. Anyway, that's Washington, D.C. today. Thanks a lot for watching. We're going to go more of our regular touristy type stuff, and we got a lot of activity at the White House tomorrow. We'll be showing you that. Thanks a lot. See you then. Bye-bye.